On this vote, the yeas are 53, the nays are 47, and his nomination is confirmed.
All right. Okay. Wow. Congratulations. Big day.
On this vote.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for watching. This is News Done Differently for the 7th day of April 2022, currently 10:03 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. An historic day in America. The first Black woman confirmed to be a justice on the United States Supreme Court. With this appointment, she will take the bench following the official retirement at the end of the Supreme Court term of Justice Breyer. And when he does retire, she will take that seat for the next term of the Supreme Court. And this is the first time in history that a white male-dominated Supreme Court is not going to be with the other female justices and with Justice Clarence Thomas. The white men in the Supreme Court are now in a minority. Again, thank you for watching if you're just joining, and if it's the first time you're watching, this is News Done Differently, and we indeed do the news a little bit differently here. I'm not back in my studio. I'm out monitoring CNN on the big screen, just in case, because we had a couple of troubling developments earlier, and there was an attack was thwarted earlier today in the Air Force base, the military base in northern Iraq that was struck by missiles earlier or late last month. 2 drones were shot down earlier this evening there in Iraq, and 4 U.S. troops were injured in a rocket attack on a base in Syria. So we're keeping an eye on the screen just in case something does happen with those 2 situations. Again, those are relatively breaking, just within the past few hours, and I apologize. My dog's chewing on her bone in the background. If you hear some chomping going on, so we're going to keep an eye on the big screen monitor just in case something does happen, and something happens big enough that mainstream does break in on it. So let's get to the news. The FBI is again, thank you all for watching. This is News Done Differently, and I'm still not used to the new software. The FBI is preparing to investigate how classified material went to Trump's Mar-a-Lago home from the White House. The Department of Justice currently has the 15 boxes, many of them labeled top secret, and they are investigating the contents of the boxes. That's the Department of Justice. And the FBI is beginning to investigate just exactly how and who is responsible. I mentioned that a lot of tension and a lot of potential for things to kick off, and possibly some news that becomes big enough that mainstream media has to come in and break in. Israel's Air Force is also preparing for war. F-16 squadron in northern Israel simulates day 1 of wartime operations with multiple jets taking off from Ramat David Air Base to practice strike missions and dogfights versus hostile aircraft. And earlier today, we got to talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene, unfortunately, because she put herself back into the news. Earlier today, there was an attack in Tel Aviv, Israel, and I'm trying to find that video footage I had. I thought I had it on here, but it appears it's on the, hold on a second, it might be here. All right, here we go. Thanks for hanging with me. News done differently, but it is news that you're not going to find most other places, many other places anyway. And let's do this. Basically, Tel Aviv was turned into what appeared to be a war zone. Numerous troops, both army and military attired police officers were searching for a gunman. Again, tensions are high all over. Tensions are high all over Israel. Not only what we're seeing here, but in Tel Aviv, but as well as in Jerusalem. And we had that picture right here. Again, teenagers in Jerusalem sitting on a fence and in my opinion, overcautious Israeli forces basically drawing down on the teenagers. It doesn't appear any of them are armed or anything, but tensions indeed are high in that area. I apologize for my computer. Stop. Okay, well, we'll see if we can work backwards this way. This is the basically the press secretary for Vladimir Putin. He admitted today in an interview in Sky News that Russia has suffered significant losses of troops, and it's a huge tragedy for Russia. He also said one of the goals of the special operation was to prevent World War III, not to start it. And the House passed the Russian trade revocation, meaning that United States will cease all trade with Russia. They passed it 420-3. And the three no's were Marjorie Taylor Greene, Tom Massey, and Matt Gaetz. Madison Cawthorn, I don't believe Madison Cawthorn voted. I think he abstained. But this is a picture of Madison Cawthorn from earlier. We showed a video clip of him enjoying his vacation at Hitler's summer house. And this is a picture of him recreating the picture of Hitler, as you can see. Again, not all Republicans are fascists, but there are a lot of fascists in the Republican Party. There are a lot of white supremacists in the Republican Party. And it's a danger to our country. Again, the Department of Justice plans to investigate Trump's 15 boxes of records that he decided he would transport, or someone transported on his behalf, from the White House, where they should have stayed as official documents, to his house in Mar-a-Lago. Some of the speculation is that because the coup was attempted and there were plans for an additional attempt, Trump took documentation with him because he planned on remaining as president. It will be interesting to see what are in those boxes. This was troubling to me. This is Lavrov, the prime minister of Russia, Putin's number two, basically. Putin's number two. Western allegations on the use of nuclear weapons by Russia are totally unfounded. This is one of those that when it popped up 10 hours ago, I went, what? Nobody in the West has accused Russia of using nuclear weapons. So have they done something and we just aren't aware of it yet? Did they drop something in Mariupol or in Kharkiv that we aren't aware of? Or is this desensitizing the idea? Is this putting the idea out there that, here's our stance once we do drop a nuclear weapon, it's going to be, we deny the use of nuclear weapons. It's troubling, to say the least. Arizona Attorney General report, he's a Republican, by the way, finds no evidence of widespread voter fraud or irregularities associated with the 2020 presidential election in Maricopa County, Arizona. So the lies will keep on coming, and unfortunately, we have to keep on explaining exactly why they are lies. And hopefully by doing so, the number of people that are believing the lies will decline. But it is it's a job that wears on you. Believe me. You just want to just declare everybody asshats. You got your head so far up Trump's ass that you're wearing it like a hat. So, but again, not all Republicans, we can't get monolithic thinking. Not all Republicans are Trump supporters. That doesn't mean they didn't vote for Trump in the past. But a lot of things have happened since the last time there was an election. Okay. So we've got to be careful in defining people. As an independent myself, I've got to be careful, especially in defining people, because not everybody that considers themselves a Republican are batshit crazy. But just about everybody that considers themselves a diehard Trump supporter. Another troubling development, an area warning comes out from Pakistan that they are going to test launch a medium-range ballistic missile, and the launch window is April 9 or 10. So we've got a few days until that happens, but Pakistan is very unstable at the moment, and they are going to, they've already basically voted no confidence in their prime minister, and they're going to have their Supreme Court has ordered another vote on the confidence in the prime minister before probably officially terminating his life, the way things seem to be going with people that lose power. But yet the geopolitically Pakistan and an unstable Pakistan is just another match waiting to go off in a tinderbox that is our world. 40 Russian battalions are on alert in Belarus. This is according to the Pentagon. It came out 12 hours ago. Belarus, as we know, we looked at maps a lot. We do that a lot on this show. Belarus is on the northern border of Ukraine. And while everyone is thinking the major battle is going to be in Donbass, the Donbass Oblast, don't be surprised if there's not a major surge towards Kyiv again, okay? Especially from the north, from Belarus, because these are basically the battalions that were around Kyiv and pulled out. They didn't go home. They didn't go back to their bases, as we've told you before. They're on the border, which is not that far. And if all attention gets focused into the east, which is what is seeming to be happening at the moment, don't be surprised if there's not an attempt within the next week or two to try to seize Kyiv again. Some news from Anonymous. I've got quite a bit of anonymous news tonight. The Sharkbot banking Trojan has resurfaced on Google Play stores, and it's disguised as an antivirus app and been installed by thousands of Android users. So if you have installed one of these antivirus super cleaners, what they actually are is a Trojan, which is a type of virus that isn't detected until once it's embedded into your system. Okay, like the Trojan horse, looked like a really good thing until they got it inside, and all the Greeks came running out. Same thing here. This looks like an Atom Clean Booster, antivirus super cleaner, an alpha antivirus cleaner, powerful cleaner, center security. They look like, well, shoot, I probably need that. You don't. And that's one of the things Anonymous does, is put out these warnings for when they find black hats. All right. Remember, there are white hats, there are gray hats, and there are black hats. The black hats are nothing but criminals. And that's cut and dry. The white hats are the ones that are trying to protect their companies or whoever their employees are. And in the middle are the gray hats, who sometimes do bad things, but for good reasons. Okay. Somebody questioned the other day. I said, that I wasn't surprised with what we saw in Bucha, that, we intercepted the phone call, of the commanding officer telling them to kill them all, kill all the civilians, kill the women, kill the children, kill them all. And people questioned that. If you watched the interview with William Fulton last night, we kind of explained all of that, how that we actually do all of this stuff, where the stories come from that end up on my bookmark that I use as my news sheet. And this, I don't show you everything. Some of the stuff that I've seen, just describing it to you would, I've seen a picture where a dog was nailed by its paws to a board, and then they cut the dog's cut his legs off, and left the paws on the board before they eventually cut him to pieces, and laughing. I've seen notification that Russians play a game when they get into a city called Safari. And the little kids they capture, they tell them they can run. And if they can run fast enough, they won't get shot. And the Russians hunt them and shoot them. Now, the nicer Russians only shoot them in the legs. I don't care. I really do not care whether anybody believes this stuff or not. I'm not going to show you some of the stuff that I've seen because it impacts me in such a negative way. Now, we can't look away. We cannot look away from what is going on because I told you before this even started, this is going to be good versus evil. This is going to be freedom versus oppression. This is going to be fascist versus democracy. And we've got one of those battles going on here in our country. It's a Cold War at the moment. But do not think for a moment that the far right radicals are not, they're foaming at the mouth to kill anybody and everybody that's not like them. It's a small percentage of them, but do not for a moment think they are not there, because they are. And if it happens here, it's going to be just like the fascist far right extremists are going to be just like the Russians. They're going to come in and they're going to put people on their knees and shoot them in the back of the head just because they have been programmed to do so. It's called the red pill. It's called take the red pill. That's what they're promoting. Take the red pill. Become radicalized. Yeah. Yeah. You can look for yourself. Just do a Google, right? Just do a quick Google. Take the red pill. What's that mean? I'm going to play this twice.
Да, понял. Своё, блядь. Да хочешь ебать жопу, мы сидим, пиздец, впереди нас село, блядь, я не знаю, километров 10, наверное, 15 впереди. Хуй там из группировка 150 тысяч, ебаный в рот. Ну, хуй. А нас ебать, если 3 тысячи есть, это заебись, ебать. Хуя, откуда их столько там? И хуй знает, что ебать делать, что будет нахуй. Они же слева, справа, они нас... Даже по новостям сказали, а мы здесь стоим. Они же вот заходили же нахуй. Вот недавно хотели назад что-то дойти до села, мы в полонах стоим, а эти пидоры спереди нас. Бля, меня сам факт смутил, потому что их тут пидоров так много, а нас так мало, и у нас никакой нет поддержки, ничего. Ни авиации, ни хуя нету.
So, we do indeed intercept a lot of these calls, and it's because they're using regular cell phones. I mean, you'd be surprised how easy it is to actually intercept one of your calls. Not me, but people that know what they're doing.
Машина проехала, не увидели там машины или техника, и 2 человека срочно по гражданке. Да валите всех нахуй там, ебаный в рот, блядь. Я понял.
Okay, right there. Car drove by. It was hard to see what kind of. And 2 people
проехала, не увидели там машины или техника, и 2 человека срочно.
Came out of the forest. Civilians.
Да валите всех нахуй,
Kill
там,
them
ебаный
all.
в рот, блядь. Я понял. Тут вся деревня.
Kill them all. What are you waiting for? You saw what he called them. This is troops calling back saying, chances are their non-commissioned officer has been killed. They're out there by themselves calling back saying, hey, what are we supposed to do? And their commanding officers telling them to kill them all. And this is just, we got this 15 hours ago. These come in all the time. I'm going to save this for a little bit. I really can't believe Charges won't be filed. Charges won't be filed in the Amir Locke shooting involving the no-knock warrant. We spent a whole episode talking about and showing videos of what happened. Young man was asleep on the couch, wrapped up in a blanket, and had a gun with him because of the area he was in, licensed to carry a gun. His name was nowhere on the no-knock warrant. It just happened to be it was a mistake, and it was at the wrong place, and the cops just busted in. When they saw he had a gun, they killed him. It didn't take more than 10 seconds, and charges won't be filed. It's a historic day in America. A black woman was appointed to the Supreme Court, but that's not going to bring justice. I'm just saying. Russians began using the mobile crematoriums that they've been using in the West and in the North in Mariupol to burn bodies of slaughtered Ukrainians in mass. It's a catastrophe, and we will never learn the true scale of it. They're covering up their war crimes. But again, Anonymous has hacked into security cameras all throughout Ukraine, and they're recording everything the Russians are doing. They've hacked into the closed circuit TV, as we showed you last night, in the Kremlin, and they're watching everything the Russians are doing. They have downloaded, I believe the number is 2 million different addresses, data points from Russia. It's amazing. It's amazing what these young IT people can do. And there are some people that once the attention is truly focused here, as it is slowly becoming, there will be people that will not like the fact that they are on an anonymous list. I'm just going to leave it at that. The villa of pro-Putin Russian TV presenter Vladimir Solyabov, that's the guy we show on here that has the Z on his laptop. That is the Tucker Carlson of Russia. His villa on Lake Como in Italy was set on fire in the early hours of Wednesday. That's according to Newsweek. I can't say that, as long as nobody's injured in that, I really could care less that his villa in Italy burnt down. Another intercepted call. Just to kind of shove it in the face of those that are saying that I'm basically talking out of my hat, was what I was told. You're talking out of your hat. None of this stuff's true. You're making stuff up just to try to appear like you have things before mainstream media. That's not the case. I don't have to do that. I don't have to do this. I'm doing this for the good of the world, believe it or not.
Не надо колонн Мариуполь, топ 50% захватили, сегодня видео показывают, эти кадыровцы же все вылаживают. Вон они, нахуй, всех детей расстреливают, всех, нахуй.
Okay, this is, my apologies, I don't have the translated version, but this is the one where the Russian soldier tells his wife about a safari hunt for children in Mariupol. The soldier shares stories of invasion forces chasing a little Ukrainian girl, shooting her in the legs just for fun. We've got others. Unfortunately. Ron DeSantis illegally delayed a public records request for over 2 months on documents related to Halsey Bashir's. He's allegedly connected to Matt Gaetz, a sex trafficker who's under investigation. So the governor could review them to ensure the accuracy and correctness of it. That's not how these things work, just so you know. And again, if you're a Republican and you're just now finding all this stuff out, hey, you have no idea. You really have no idea. A matter of fact, no, I'm not going to pull it up tonight. But let's just
Turning them over to News 6, we've learned Beshears' record.
Let's just listen to this is local Florida news.
The governor is delaying the release of certain state records so he can look at them first.
We pulled their liquor license last night.
Halsey Beshears oversaw Florida's business licensing agency until he abruptly resigned last year, citing health issues. Shortly after he left, published reports surfaced linking Beshears to a federal sex trafficking investigation, the same one that reportedly involves Florida.
Former Daytona Beach party head, I imagine. Halsey Beshears was on Matt Gaetz' party plane to Bahamas. Said to have been arranged by a marijuana entrepreneur. Bahamas, that's outside the country. That would be
Congressman Matt Gaetz. Neither has been charged with a crime.
And I talked to hundreds of bar owners and breweries across the state.
After Beshears resigned, News 6 requested his old expense reports from the Department of Business and Professional Regulation, or DBPR. These documents detailing how Beshears spent taxpayer money, which any Floridian has the right to see, were compiled by DBPR in just a matter of days. But instead of immediately turning them over to News 6, we've learned Beshears' records were forwarded to the office of Governor Ron DeSantis.
Okay, just so you're clear here, this TV station requested from the government the records. Instead of being sent to the TV station, as is normal, they were sent to the governor so he could review them to ensure the accuracy and correctness of it. Maybe you don't have a problem with this. Maybe you don't see how dangerous this is. Maybe you don't realize your value and your worth as a human being, and the fact that we have to take all of this at the moment. But voting counts. Voting matters. If the people of Georgia had not voted for the two senators that they did in Georgia, then right now Mitch McConnell would be in the Senate, and absolutely the government would be shut down. There would be nothing going on, because the Senate would not allow anything to be sent to the White House or to even be voted on, let alone a Black woman Supreme Court justice. Think about that. Voting matters. And it's going to matter even more the more pressure the fascists put on to try to stop people from voting. Tell your Republican friends, watch the show a couple of times. Just watch the show a couple of times. And I'm just going to give you a little preview of a coming attraction, so to speak, because it's not an attraction, really. It's repulsive. It's a list of Republican sex predators, child molesters, and pedophiles. And we're going to go through the whole list. We are. Not tonight, in a special edition. But just to give you an idea, it's not 10, it's not 20. We are now down to 783, 784. 84. Okay? It's coming. We're gonna go through them all just so that there's no doubt. And obviously, I'm not the only one working on these things. Okay. I'm not the only one working on these things. And since we're talking about Republicans and Republicans that have major sex problems, former Trump aide, Republican National Committee operative, and pro-life activist Ruben Verastegui has just been sentenced to 12 years in prison for child porn. He posted about how the sexual abuses of babies is his absolute favorite. There are allegedly more Republican staffers to come. Wake up. Wake up. I've been telling you for months that the big lie, major propaganda, you tell a lie big enough and often enough, people will believe it. You accuse the other side of that which you are doing. The accusations of pedophilia, the unsubstantiated stuff that just flows out of these people's mouths. Marjorie Taylor Greene yesterday said the three people that were voting for now Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, the three Republicans that were voting for her were pro-pedophile, like she's a pedophile. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you've been conned. Conservative, while you may think being a conservative is a solid thing to do, it doesn't mean the same thing it meant when your dad's Republican Party. It doesn't mean the same thing it meant in your grandpa's Republican Party. It doesn't matter how long you have been taught to be Republican. Learn to be American. And it's the same damn thing for Democrats. All right. At the moment, Republicans are doing so much stuff that Democrats could get away with a lot. All right. I don't know what's on Hunter Biden's laptop. I don't care. He's a private citizen. If he did something wrong, he needs to be punished for it. Plain and simple. I don't care what's on his laptop. I don't, because it is not a detriment to America unless it connects the president, which it doesn't. If it did, we would know about it by now because it's not a new thing. All right. Republicans have had Hunter Biden's laptop, including Grassley. They've all had this. Matt Gaetz has it right now. You don't think if there was something on it, he'd be screaming about it? No. And again, there's some shady business dealings on there. I've seen it. I've seen what's on his laptop. There's sex. There's some, and it's not like outlandish, outrageous, there's sex and drugs, okay, and some questionable business stuff. But there's no child porn, and babies aren't his absolute favorite. Okay. We got to talk about this. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Yeah. Now, Marjorie Taylor Greene may disappear very quickly. And I'm not saying this because somebody's going to, because Jimmy Kimmel's going to whack her. That's what she thinks is going to happen. But in actuality, there is a movement both within the House of Representatives to have her removed as unfit for service. And there is also a movement in her own state to have her ineligible for the ballot because she's an insurrectionist who wanted to overthrow the government. So she may disappear. She, like I said, there's rumors. It's not news. I'm not reporting it. I'm just saying there's rumors that the reason she is so against trans is because she's one, and maybe she regretted it. Maybe it didn't work for her, you know, but whatever. They're just rumors. All right. All right. Misinformation, probably, you know, but I'm not going to be like Tucker Carlson and want to question her, or heaven forbid, have her prove, you know. But anyway, she may disappear. She hasn't yet. She's still here. And Jimmy Kimmel, and I can't play the clip because I've already got a copyright strike from Disney. Jimmy Kimmel, ABC, owned by Disney. You know, I'm not going to risk a copyright, but I will tell you the joke. Jimmy Kimmel came out and he said, Marjorie Taylor Greene is speaking wherever he's going to be speaking. And he said, where's Will Smith when you need him? Okay. Not the greatest joke, but with the Oscars in the recent past, you know, pertinent, I guess, timely. Again, not the greatest comedy, but Marjorie Taylor Greene filed a report with Capitol Police and said Jimmy Kimmel threatened her. Okay. And for real, I'm not making this up. And then the only person she could talk to about it was her knight in shining armor, Matt Gaetz.
And they go and do it.
Yeah, and Jimmy knows it happens, and
Totally.
you know, and so Matt, I'm really grateful for you, as in your character and as a man that would stand up and defend me as a woman, because we need to recognize that women are the weaker sex.
And they go and do it.
Women are the weaker sex. Okay. Most of the women that I know, do not believe that they are the weaker sex. Now, that doesn't mean they don't like for you to hold the door open for them, or they don't like to be told that, you know, their shoes look nice or whatever. Doesn't mean they don't want you to be nice and respectful to them. It means they don't want you to look at them as anything less than equal. Most of the women I know, that's how they feel. Okay. And it's not like I know millions of women, but I do know a variety of women, and most of them don't feel like they're really the weaker sex. And I don't think Matt Gaetz thinks that either.
And by the way, Jimmy Kimmel, not only would Marjorie Taylor Greene's husband make quick work of you, Marjorie Taylor Greene would make quick work of you. And if you don't...
Okay. See, if she's not the weaker sex, then why would he be saying she could beat up Jimmy Kimmel? And isn't that a threat? Aren't they threatening Jimmy Kimmel?
Don't believe that, you can go ask the Marines that did pull-ups with her at the Iowa State Fair, and my guess is that Jimmy Kimmel would not last too long if he himself were interested in engaging in unprovoked, terrible violence against this Congresswoman.
Matt, do you have any idea? No, you don't. You have no idea how many people would like to have uncontested violence with you. You might find out if you do get convicted on those 3 child sex trafficking charges, because I hear that inmates in prison don't like people that abuse children. I just hear that. I've never been to prison, and not in my plans. I saved this one for because this is unconfirmed. Okay. This is from the shooting we were talking about in Tel Aviv earlier. And supposedly, allegedly, again, we don't have it confirmed, but this person right here that you will see is the suspected gunman. He walks by, checks to see how many people are outside, and these indeed, we do know that these are the victims. These are some of the victims in the shooting. 2 people killed, 15 injured in Tel Aviv, and the manhunt is still ongoing. This is our Don't Be a Doofus. It's the American Doofus channel. It's news done differently on the American Doofus channel. Our news done, our Don't Be a Doofus video of the week. Do not, under any circumstances, jump into a bunch of water that is about to go over a mega waterfall. No, don't do it. Don't be a doofus. Okay. Donald Trump, of course, we've talked about, he took 15 boxes of documents from the White House, many of them labeled top secret, and had them at Mar-a-Lago. The Department of Justice has those boxes now. The FBI is investigating how they got there. And earlier today, the ex-president gave an interview and says no, he didn't ask Mo Brooks. And, we reported on this probably 10 days ago now, that Congressman Mo Brooks came out and said Trump asked him to overturn the election. No, I didn't ask Mo Brooks to do a coup for me, but someone needs to do a coup for me. Trump says, I didn't ask him to do it. He's in no position to do it. I certainly didn't ask him to, but, and Trump himself. But I believe when you see massive election fraud, we just showed you the final results, finally, from Arizona. There was no election fraud. I shouldn't say that. The only election fraud that has been found, it is confirmed, has been done by Republicans. Again, accuse the other side, accuse your enemy, because anybody that is not a member of the fascist Klan is an enemy. They're calling fellow Republicans rhinos, all right? Republican in name only, because they are not right-wing extremists. Look at who Trump has been endorsing. Nothing but the right-wing extreme whack jobs. But I believe when you see massive election fraud, I can't imagine that somebody who won the election based on fraud, that something doesn't happen. How does it not happen? If you're a bank robber or you're a jewelry store robber and you go into Tiffany's and you steal their diamonds and you get caught, you have to give the diamonds back. There wasn't massive fraud. The election wasn't stolen, and the White House isn't Tiffany's. But you cannot argue with delusional people, okay? And that's going to make this very dangerous. That's why for 2 years now, I've been about stopping us from going to war with ourselves, because for so many reasons. Anybody recognize that sign? Trump. Oath keepers, 3%ers, white supremacists, right there. Now you may say to yourself, "Oh, come on. Do you ever sit like that? It's not natural. Your forefinger and your thumb don't naturally do that. That is a sign." And for my friends in the Black community, signs. Signs are significant. Signs are important. Well, they've got one sign. Okay. And she's not the only one that did it. They were doing this all the way through the hearing for now Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. They were doing it. Okay. She sat there for minutes. She sat there for minutes like this as she was questioning. Okay. With her, she sat there just as she is right there. It's just be aware. I'm not saying, and I've been talking about this for 2 years. We are used to, as a society, we're used to things happening immediately. Okay. If I have to wait 3 minutes for a Whopper from Burger King, this is supposed to be drive-through. It's supposed to be ready. We want it. We want it now. When I'm telling you things are probably going to happen, I don't mean they're going to happen tomorrow. All right. I just mean if we don't make changes, they are going to happen. And we have to be prepared for it. And to be prepared, the first thing we need to do is be aware. Okay. And this is not good news. We've been talking about Bucha. And Bucha enraged me. Those of you that watch this show on a regular basis know that I got really pissed at having to show the things from Bucha, the torture chamber, the shots in the back of the head, the dead dogs, the dead kids. I haven't shown you the 3-year-old little girl that they found naked, that had been rectally raped as well as vaginally. I haven't shown you. And now we find out. And I knew, I told you the night that I did that episode, I said, this is our first. There will be hundreds. And according to Zelensky, it's much more horrific in Bordianka. And they're just now getting there. Again, another little something that I touched on last night. This comes from Anonymous, and again, Anonymous is it's not a group. Anonymous is an idea. Okay, it's an idea that to the ruling elite, we are all nobody. We are all nothing. And yet, together, we have incredible power against a ruling elite should it become necessary. They don't make their decisions. There's no leader that says this is what we're doing. They do it as a collective. And normally they do not get involved in war. But they have taken a side, and they are very effective against Russia.
This is a message from Anonymous. United Nations and NATO. You can't negotiate with a psychopathic killer with no feelings. People in Ukraine getting killed and slaughtered. Putin is preparing a second strike and you sitting back and watching what will happen. We are done. Do not underestimate Anonymous. It's time to show you the real action. This is not a warning. This is real. This is Operation Falling Star. We are coming for the Russian satellites and we will make them fall on Russian military infrastructure, on Kremlin and Putin's palace. Anonymous. Operation Falling Star is being activated and instructions shall follow soon. We are anonymous. We are legion. We do not forget. We do not forgive. Expect us.
Okay, so this has created some disturbances within the anonymous community because there are those that are saying this is make believe that that this would never happen. I find it incredibly intriguing because if they have the power to actually bring down Russian submarine or Russian satellites and crash them into Russian military establishments and into the Kremlin and into wherever, would doing that make Russia so incredibly vulnerable that they could be overrun because the nuclear threat would be neutralized? I don't know, but again, so far, everything I've seen that Anonymous has warned, and they're saying, in this group there are a lot of groups that make up the movement Anonymous, and the videos I've seen, you can take them for their word that what they say they are about to do, they do. And I actually thought I had okay, that's going to be our last story of the night. I actually thought I had the exact number of data points they have released, but it's astronomical. And this is Marine Le Pen, and she is running to be Prime Minister of France against Macron. And just so you can get an idea who she might be.
Effectivement, par M. Trump, c'est défendu par M. Poutine. Que l'air de rien, les grandes lignes politiques que je défends sont les grandes lignes qui sont défendues, effectivement, par M. Trump, c'est défendu par M. Poutine. Que l'air de rien.
Okay, basically she's tying Putin and Trump together, and maybe QAnon was right all along, where they said there is this cabal that wants to take over the world. The only thing is they don't realize that the cabal is really the people controlling them, Russia, because QAnon's a Russian artificial intelligence propaganda machine that spiraled bigger and more out of control than Russia ever imagined. It was big. It was a bigger success than Russia even thought. Okay. And yes, I've been getting information that comes from inside the Kremlin. Are you surprised? Did you think I was just pulling stuff out of my hat when I started talking about QAnon and pedophiles? And no. Okay. There are too many fascist, authoritarian, oppressive rulers now, as it is, without adding one in France or trying to put one back in power in America, in my humble opinion. But I just want you to know that the election is coming up, and if she becomes the Prime Minister of France, everything changes. And I mean, everything changes. When we first started talking about all this, I said my two main concerns were Germany and France, whether they would hold in a coalition if war was coming with Russia. I haven't changed that stance. I haven't changed that stance at all. Okay, our last story of the night. Again, thank you for hanging with me. Thank you for watching. It's News Done Differently. I touched on this story briefly last night, that that two men had been arrested, and they had been arrested for trying to give luxury gift items, including a sniper rifle, to Secret Service agents. And how weird that story was. Well, maybe it's not as weird as we initially thought. Investigators searched the apartments of the two men. They posed as Department of Homeland Security agents, and inside the department, the FBI found loaded Glock 19, disassembled long guns, sniper spotting equipment, ammunition, handcuffs, radios, body armor, a surveillance drone, and several computer servers. This is a building in Washington, D.C. that many law enforcement officers live in. Agents also found a binder with a list of all the names of people who lived in their apartment building, many of whom were law enforcement. So something nefarious was up with these two people. Who paid them? You know, there are a bunch of questions that are going to arise from this. Who paid them? Who was the target? Because one of the Secret Service agents that they approached and tried to curry favor with happened to be on Joe Biden, the First Lady's security detail. Who's doing this? Who's behind this? Speculation is this was going to be an assassination attempt. Who was the target? A lot of questions that somebody somewhere, probably somebody in the FBI doing their job, caught this. So we'll keep an eye on this story as we do with everything else. Again, Tel Aviv, at least 2 people killed, 15 wounded in a shooting. And our final story of the night. I didn't think this would ever, I was told this will never, ever, 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 ever happen. And I believed it. Pink Floyd got back together. They came together after 28 years of not playing together. They came together and they put a song together to support Ukraine. And tomorrow night I'll have that video of that song. Once I see if I can do it without getting hit with a copyright strike. So again, shootings going on in Tel Aviv. Touch on this real quick. Ronnie Jackson, one of the whack jobs that I was talking about earlier, is both Republicans and Democrats are bringing him up on investigation of ethics violations. I find that really, what could this guy have done that they're going to bring him up on ethics of violations when Madison Cawthorn's talking about cocaine, orgies? Marjorie Taylor Greene is calling fellow Republicans pedophiles, pro-pedophile. Not that they aren't, but so what did this guy do? What did Ronnie Jackson do? It'll be interesting to see. And get rid of the music so we don't get copyright. I know what the song is. Okay, there we go. A drone's chasing a Russian soldier, and the Russian soldier keeps running and running and running and running, and the drone keeps tracking him. He eventually turns and he tries to shoot back over his shoulder at the drone, and the drone just basically follows him all the way back to all the way back to his base. And then moments later, and literally moments later, this is 2022. Moments later, the Ukrainian artillery hit. So technology in action. And that does it for us for tonight. Again, thank you for watching. Yeah, my hair's a mess. I'm sorry. People have been asking about the hair because I said I was going to cut it off at the first of the year. And I haven't cut it. And I've got cancer and it keeps coming back. I go back in Monday. I think it's the 11th. I go back in Monday at 1 p.m. and they're going to try to cut it out again. One final time of cutting before we go to the next steps. And so I'm keeping my hair because I may have to lose it. And that's why, for those that are interested, I'll try to make sure it looks better and I look more respectable. But you don't watch this for me looking good. You watch this because I tell you things that need to be told, and give you information that you're not going to get anywhere else, and allow you to do what you want with it and make your own decisions. And I dearly thank all of you for watching. This is News Done Differently for the 7th day of April 2022. And we'll be back tomorrow night at 10 p.m. with more.